What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the stream today. So hope you guys are having a great Monday so far. I will say the market is definitely down to start the week here. So thank you guys for joining so far. George, Square, Vicky, Neighbor Jay, thank you guys for joining up. As you know, let me know what's going on, everybody, and welcome let me know what's stock today. So hope you guys are having a great Monday so far. Sorry about that, guys. My audio, I had the YouTube stream up on a separate tab, and it actually came flying through my mic if you guys heard a bit of an echo there for a second, but I think I got the audio fixed. But so far this morning, we have the market really selling off here. As we can see, Tesla has really been falling down here, breaking below some pretty key supports, which is not good to see at all. Of course, we have the SPY also selling off all the way down to 402.69 in pre-market. We almost got down to that key $400 support that's coming up, so that's going to be a big level there. Good morning, Hunter. Yeah, guys, if you guys are seeing any stocks you guys want me to hit on, definitely let me know. But I will say, so far today, I don't have one stock on my watch list in the green. The only stock that is close to green is Kraft Heinz, and it's down 0.16%, 0.15%. It's going somewhere around there. It looks like this one might end up green, but you know, the next closest stock I have is Pepsi here, and you can see they're in the red, and then we have MU trying to climb up into the green. But so far, just so many stocks are bleeding today, and it's definitely not a good sign here. You know, one thing that really caught my eye this morning was Rivian. We talked about this a ton in last night's video, and the selling pressure is just insane on Rivian right now. It's really falling off to the downside, and we have some pretty crazy news to go over where Ford is selling 8 million of their shares, and then JP Morgan Chase is selling a share block between 13 and 15 million shares for an unknown seller. So we're definitely seeing a lot of selling pressure out of Rivian today. Lucid is also falling off in a huge way, down 6.4% there. So, that is just rough to see. Also, we have poor Palantir here, down 18% with their earnings this morning. It is getting rough. You know, I know Hunter actually had a really funny thing in a group chat with Mike and I, where he actually said, I asked him, I said, Hunter, what's a good valuation on Palantir in your eyes? And he said, maybe $7 or even less. He said they're still insanely overvalued. And wow, Hunter, they're almost back down to $7. So you almost hit that one right on the head. But yeah, that is pretty telling there. I mean, I just can't believe how bad the selling pressure has become out of some of these stocks. And I know that these valuations have been insane, and some of them are still overvalued, even though they've been falling, kind of like with Palantir. So really good points there. So we have Square saying, good morning. When will the bleeding stop? Are we hitting the low of 400 on SPY? Or are we going to get a bounce on Monday today? So, you know, I don't know, Square. It's a pretty tough one to say there. I would say that we could see a bounce out of SPY at 400. That's definitely going to be a big support level to be looking at. So whenever I'm looking at the SPY here, 400 is definitely going to be the next major level that I'm eyeing up. And if we go back, you know, we can't really even see any of the major levels the SPY's at. We have to go back all the way into last year where we saw the SPY down to 404 on the yearly low. Keep in mind, I'm only going back 1 year here. If we go to the max daily chart, then of course we can see more defined levels. But it's pretty insane that 404 is the low of the past year, and we're pretty much sitting right at that. So, you know, if we start really breaking below that and then falling below 400, I'll really be scared for the SPY over the next couple days. It's been pretty rough, and as we know, some of these growth stocks are coming back to their correct valuations, and even some stocks like Apple and Twitter, Facebook, and stocks like that have been kind of falling back off. I know Twitter had all that great news with Elon Musk and him becoming the CEO last week, and now it's kind of falling back off to the downside again, which is just not good to see. You know, just continued selling pressure. And I feel like Twitter should be doing a lot better right now if the market was holding up better. But since the market's been really rough, Twitter has also just been kind of holding its range and not really moving too much here. As we know, Elon's going to buy it out for $54.20. So as we get closer to the deal, I'm kind of expecting to see Twitter move up towards 54.20 just a little bit more. And let's see here. Hunter says, true that. That was in February too. So yeah, it definitely was, Hunter. That was big. I can't believe you said Palantir down to 700 and it really ran all the way down there. Like you said, you said that all the way back in February when they were at like 13. So it definitely continued lower, and wow, it's probably still overvalued a little bit. So we'll have to see what happens with good old Palantir here. But yeah, it's definitely breaking and making new lows. Now it's down 19%. We're almost down 20%. So definitely not looking good with them. Mike says, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Do you guys trade Redbox? No, I actually don't trade Redbox. And let me see what their ticker is. I actually haven't traded them in a long time. I remember I used to trade them like a while ago, but I actually forgot what their ticker was. Let's see, RDBX, I believe. Let's see, RDBX. Yeah, that's the right one. So actually, they've been having a nice, some nice momentum here over the past couple months. I haven't really traded Redbox too much. I know I've heard about it, but obviously, as far as the stock goes, it's definitely crazy. I mean, this is some insane movement here in price action. Honestly, it's not too bad though. You know, the price action's not terrible. There's like a bit of support here right around $6, and it's not looking terrible, Mike. So maybe that'll be a good stock to look at if it does start to get some momentum. Like I said, it's definitely volatile and it's been all over the place, so be careful with it, but it did have a lot of momentum over the past few weeks, so maybe RDBX can start to run again. But keep in mind, Redbox is a pretty crazy company. You know, it's like that box that they have at like Walgreens and like Walmarts and stuff, where you can like rent movies and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. That's like what the company focuses on. But let's see, we have I Am Mike though saying, just opened TOS and all I could say was damn in Kevin Hart's voice. yeah, that's really funny, Mike. I know the market's bleeding today and it's rough. You know, all these stocks kind of gap down, and like I said at the beginning of the stream, I don't have one stock green on my watch list. It looks like there is one in the green now, which is Moderna, and you know, they're kind of coming back up here. I know somebody asked in the chat about Moderna. We have JD kind of mentioning Moderna here too. So let's see, Moderna does have some momentum. It's up 1.5%. It has been kind of holding that 130 support this morning, and honestly hasn't been looking too bad. So I think it looks pretty decent, Mike. It doesn't look bad here. To be honest, Moderna isn't my favorite stock, and you know, in the end, I don't see it blasting up or blasting down. I will say there's been a lot of crazy news with these stocks lately because of obviously earnings, but there's also been a lot of news with like I should say like COVID becoming more rampant in China again, and they're starting to have more shutdowns and everything like that. So that could help Moderna if we continue to see, you know, the market's trend in that direction. Let's see Pfizer, and wow, Pfizer's actually really kind of selling off. So they're moving kind of in opposite directions today, which isn't really too surprising. But either way, I think Pfizer and Moderna could be interesting to watch. You know, they're both like vaccine stocks, and if we do see an uptick, that could definitely, I guess you could say it could help both of these stocks, but it would be bad for the overall market. But hey, as long as Pfizer and Moderna go up, it wouldn't be terrible. So definitely not the worst thing there. Let's see, we have Mike Chang saying, how are DraftKings earnings? Let's see, DKNG. I know that honestly the earnings didn't seem too bad, but they just started falling off in a huge way here. So looking at DraftKings, they started really falling below $14 whenever they reported, and then they even fell below $13. So we're seeing a pretty big sell-off here. Hopefully it can come back today. Their earnings weren't terrible by any means, Mike. So with their earnings, keep in mind that they did still grow their revenue year over year and stuff like that. Their revenue is growing. Just keep in mind that, you know, their EPS and everything obviously still isn't coming in at a positive number, which isn't good. And overall, it's just those earnings are really tough to gauge because a lot of the movement also has to do with their guidance. And I do feel like the DraftKings guidance wasn't the best, or I mean, wasn't the worst here. Let me pull up the article one more time here. I'll pull up the Yahoo Finance one, and we can kind of re-go over it and see some of the key points that they hit on here, because there was some pretty key points that I saw from like DraftKings CEO and other people like that. So, and the main thing I think was their guidance. So let's go ahead and check that out really quick on Barron's here. So you can see they say DraftKings was dropping Friday, erasing erasing the gains it made in pre-market, but they did raise their full year guidance, which I thought was great. So they expect their revenue for the year to be between 1.93 billion and 2.03 billion, up from previous guidance of 1.85 billion to 2 billion. So they're definitely raising guidance there a little bit. It's nothing too crazy, but they're definitely raising it. And they also raised their estimate for their EBI, TDA, EBITDA. It's kind of hard to say, but it's something that obviously looks at like their guidance and everything like that. And so pretty much their earnings before so they pretty much say it right here: earnings before taxes, interest, depreciation, and appreciation. So I know that might be like a bit of a tongue twister there for you guys, but to shorten it up, it's EBITDA. So like EBITDA, it's pretty much what they say. But you can see here, they adjusted it to a loss of 760 million and 840 million, narrower than the estimate for a loss of 825 million. So, you can see that they're still losing, but at least they're raising their guidance a little bit. So overall, the earnings weren't the best, but with raising guidance, it can help. So I guess that's it's hard to always look at earnings in that way because overall, like with DraftKings earnings, the thing that makes it really tough is that you have to try to gauge their guidance and then also gauge the current numbers. So while they're raising guidance, their current numbers also aren't the best. So it's kind of tough to see. Mike also made a really good video about it too. So I'm sure I'll throw that into the comment section here if Mike doesn't get that. But yeah, his video was awesome. It really went over everything with DraftKings and even kind of goes over how New York legalizing could help them out a little bit. I do also think that them legalizing in New York will also help them out. So keep that in mind. But with earnings, like I said, it's always hard to gauge because of the guidance and everything like that. I would say their earnings went pretty well, given what we've seen over their past few reports. So I'll take it. It still wasn't the best, but it was having good movement in pre-market that morning. It just gave the gains back once the market opened. And I don't necessarily blame DraftKings for falling on Friday because we saw a lot of stocks down, whether it was Zoom or Palantir or whatever you want to look at pretty much. It was pretty much down on Friday. So keep that in mind. But here, I'll go ahead and get that. Oh, Hunter got the video. Okay, cool. He got the video for DraftKings there in the comments if you guys are interested in that at all. Really cool video. Check it out later if you guys want. It definitely goes over a lot. Kind of wanted to go back to Palantir today, though, because we're talking about earnings with DraftKings here. Let me pull up a nice article for Palantir's earnings. I think that'll be a pretty cool thing to look at today. Let's see if we can find like a nice article here. Man, I have a nice one from Yahoo Finance again, I think. I wish CNBC would have a nice one. Let's see. So Yahoo Finance here. So we can see their forecast. So their Q2 revenue forecasts are below estimates. They expect the Ukraine war to boost growth. So that's interesting. I wonder how that's going to help boost their growth. We might have to read into that. Let's see here. So it says Palantir Technologies forecast second quarter revenue below Wall Street expectations on Monday. So that's not good. They indicate slowing sales growth as the data analytics software firm ramps up its sales force to sign more deals amid rising competition. So that's definitely not good. As we know, Palantir has had a lot of contracts with the government and stuff. So as we can see, they say here, the company known for its work with the U.S. Army and the Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, says it sees a wide range of potential upside to its forecast driven by opportunities arising from developing geopolitical events with the Ukraine war likely to boost defense spending by government. So that's huge, actually. As we know, they've had those contracts with the U.S. Army and the U.S. government. So to see them now talking about the Ukraine war helping boost defense spending by other governments means that Palantir might start branching out a little bit. So that would definitely be interesting, and I hope that helps their stock move up. But as we can see here this morning, I mean, it's definitely not moving up. We're down 21%. So honestly, it sounds pretty good. You know, they did expect forecast below, or they did expect revenue to come in below the forecast, but still, I mean, it sounds like they're having some pretty good outlooks here, but I guess the current numbers are just overweighing that. So let's see the year-over-year revenues here. It says the company forecasts second quarter revenue of $470 million, implying a growth of just 25% year over year, compared with 49% year over year growth a year earlier. So I guess they are slowing a little bit, but I do know that as these companies start to make more revenue, it does have to slow at some point. So that's definitely a big thing to keep in mind there. But overall, the numbers, I guess, just aren't the best. You know, their current numbers just aren't good. Their outlook looks decent, but yeah, it's definitely showing that they're definitely not growing as quick. So that's not good, but I love to see that they're talking about branching out into other countries and stuff. I think that'll definitely help out their company over the years. Just keep in mind that, you know, these companies who are boosting their defense spending aren't just going to start signing contracts with Palantir right away. You know, I'm sure that's going to take some time. So obviously keep that in mind. But yeah, Palantir's definitely down today with their earnings, and those numbers definitely weren't the best. You know, today we have a lot of stocks down again, down 5% plus. It's not good to see. I know Oxy's another one that's kind of falling off. They were kind of looking hot on Friday. They were all the way up to 65, and now they're really tanking off down to $61 again. Let's see slash CL here, slash CL for crude oil futures. And wow, even the futures are down a lot. They were up around 110 to 111, started falling all the way back off now to 106.50 to 106. So that's not good to see there. That's definitely a big drop out of crude futures. That's probably why these oil stocks are falling off at such the rate that they are this morning. And it also is bad to see these big growth plays down in general, like Plug down 8%. This is definitely not a good sign here. They are really selling off down to 1782. This is just such a bad drop, guys. Look on the max daily chart. Plug is getting really close to the low of this year, right around 1750. So we're only like 30 cents away, and it's not looking good. I have a bad feeling that Plug might start falling through that big support there and having some more selling pressure. So definitely keep that in the back of your mind with Plug. It's not having a good past few weeks, and it just seems like every growth stock is having a similar move to Plug like this. I mean, Matterport's down today. Clover is down. Asana down 5%. I mean, I just can't believe the selling pressure is just continuing to hit the market like this. Even poor Tesla here, down 4% again. That is just such a rough thing to see. I can't believe that these stocks are falling off in such drastic ways like this. It is very brutal in the market, to say the least. And, you know, a lot of stocks are selling off below key supports. Even the SPY here starting to really fall off. So we're seeing some bad breaks. And, you know, if you guys are interested in talking about any specific hedge plays, like maybe the VIX or VXX, or maybe go over oil again or anything like that, definitely let me know in the comments down below, because there's a lot of big stocks here, and I have a feeling that we're going to keep seeing some crazy selling pressure. And look at the VXX today. It's actually looking pretty hot. It's up to 28. It's kind of holding its ground and continuing to move up. So we're seeing some crazy moves, and it's just continuing to sell off. But hey, I'm glad to see VXX kind of pop in here. Let's maybe look at that one on the daily chart, because I know they've been really having some crazy movement, and it hasn't been the best hedge in the market lately. I feel like SPXS or UVXY or something like that has been a lot better of a hedge play lately than VXX has, just because VXX has been having some crazy movement. It seems like it's moving all over the place. And I remember there was like a short squeeze that happened a few weeks ago with VXX, where, you know, you can see here they had one day where they shot from like $30 up to $42 and then came right back down as that short squeeze happened. So definitely keep VXX in the back of your mind, as that it can definitely have some crazy moves that might not necessarily follow the S&P 500. For example, a lot of people always think that if the SPY falls, VXX has to go up, and you know that's definitely usually the case. But lately we've been seeing some some exceptions to that. We'll go look at SPXS though, and you can see it's been moving a lot better to the upside here. And if you look at the daily chart for SPXS, it's similar to VXX, how it's been staying really low, but it's had a lot more, a lot safer movement, you could say. So this one just is almost directly correlated to the SPY. So pretty much if the SPY goes up, SPXS starts falling. If the SPY goes down, SPXX flies up. And you can see it's definitely a bear here, 3x shares. So it's 3x on the leverage. So keep that in mind. It's going to move a lot. So you can see it's up 5.6% today, while the SPY is down 1.8%. So it's definitely leveraged a bit there. So keep that in mind. It might have some more crazy movement, but look at the SPY here, guys. Almost back down to $400 again. This is a pretty crazy move we're seeing. So pretty bad movement out of the market so far. Hopefully we can start to change this as we go on today. We have Bravo saying, good morning. Curious how many bad news you guys think are factored in. I think we could get a huge bounce back up at some point. Maybe wait until today or tomorrow. I'd likely say this is a buy if the SPY hits 400. Expect a sell-off tomorrow ahead of more CPI on Wednesday. He also says he likes Facebook here. And can you guys look at IWM? So yeah, I agree. I think the SPY could be a buy if we see a bounce at $400. That definitely seems like a big support level there, Bravo. So I'd say that's good. And I know you mentioned Facebook down here, and I also think it's at a good buying opportunity. Facebook's around $200 a share right now. It can keep going lower in the short term, and personally, I wouldn't be surprised if it kept falling. They have a lot of issues right now, but I will say, they did okay with earnings last week, and I would maybe expect them to maybe consolidate here around 200. I don't think it's a bad time to grab shares for the long term. It's definitely around a big support level, so definitely not bad. And he also wanted me to check out IWM, or the Russell here. So looking at IWM, it's really falling off, kind of like what we're seeing with like QQQ and the SPY. So if we look at QQQ, it's also falling off in a major way to the downside. DIA also starting to fall off. SPY is even falling off. So I don't think IWM looks too crazy. It's right around this 180 support. It's actually just below it, but I don't think it's too crazy. It's kind of moving like with the rest of the market. I will say it's extending down a little bit more than like the Dow and the SPY is, but keep in mind, there's a lot of big tech stocks in the Russell, kind of like in the NASDAQ. So you need to keep in mind that the Russell might start to fall off a little bit more than like the Dow, for example, whereas the Dow has a lot of like slower movers like McDonald's and other stocks like that in there. So it's always important to, look at these indices like that. But either way, it's definitely falling off. And I feel like that the IWM could be a pretty good buy over the next couple weeks. It seems like at some point here, these stocks have to form some type of support. And I would think that it would happen sooner rather than later. At least like just because we've been falling off ever since the beginning of this year. It's already May 9th, and we've been falling ever since like January 1st. So it's been a pretty bad sell-off here, and to be honest, it's been getting brutal, guys. It's just selling pressure day by day, and it's continuing to get worse. But at some point here, we're going to start forming a good support, and I hope that is coming up soon. Looking at the NASDAQ here, we're falling down to $300, which is going to be a big support for them, but even below 300, there's some big supports coming up, like right around 275, and then I have one at 285 even, and another one at like 290. So there's definitely some big levels here. Let's see. Trading Lifestyle says Twitter 49 puts are gonna print. Twitter just broke below the low of day. So wow, I'm surprised you guys are going after Twitter puts here. Let's check it out. Yeah, wow, Twitter did have a big break below 49. It ran all the way down to like 48.65, somewhere right around there today at that low of day, 48.70. So that was a fairly big break, nothing too crazy, but pretty good price action here. And I would say if Twitter keeps moving down, it could possibly retest those lows of last week, like right around 48.33, maybe 48.50. So, I don't think that's a bad play, Trading Lifestyle. It's definitely not bad. And Twitter looks like it's starting to sell off a little bit today, so I could see it continuing to fall off a little bit. And as far as Bravo, from earlier, he said maybe the SPY could be a buy if we hit $400. He says, I expect a rip face bounce, short squeeze off CPI report maybe. So that could maybe be big. Let's see. Let's go see that CPI report. I know it's coming out on, let's see, which day. The core inflation rate's coming out Wednesday at 8:30 in the morning, and then we have PPI data coming out Thursday, which is producer prices. So keep that in mind here. So producer prices will be coming in on Thursday. Bravo, is the PPI, is that the CPI data you meant? Because I don't think we have any CPI data coming out this week. I know we have the core inflation rate. Maybe that's what you meant, but I know the CPI data looks like it's going to be coming out. So let's see if we can get the date on that one. Let's see if it says anywhere here. Forecast maybe. Let's see. Yeah, it's not telling me on this website. Let's go back to the calendar really quick here. Yeah, that's too bad though. I know that the CPI data is usually huge for the market when it does come out. I will say though, this week is the PPI data. So let's see if we even have CPI still this month. I think it might have already actually came out like a couple weeks ago, actually. Yeah, I think that already came out, Bravo, but it's the PPI. Let's see, Bravo says the point is to look for CPI for meeting expectations or below expectations leads to CPI Wednesday. So, yeah, I'm not really seeing the CPI here. I'm seeing core inflation rate, which maybe that's what you meant, but keep in mind here, a lot of people call CPI consumer price index. So maybe Bravo, you're getting that a little bit confused there, because I don't think CPI comes out Wednesday. Correct me if I'm wrong. I hope it does, but we can see here that at least the inflation rate comes out Wednesday. So that's going to be a big thing to look at either way. You can see that they're kind of forecasting here 8.2% on the overall inflation rate. And then on the core inflation rate, they're forecasting 6.2%. So we'll have to see if it comes in with the forecast or not. If it does come in higher, then maybe expect the market to take a dip, because I know that the inflation rate plays a big role into how the Feds are going to talk about changing their policies and everything like that. Kind of like with raising rates, they're definitely looking at inflation a lot. So that's going to be a big event on Wednesday there for the inflation. But keep in mind, like I said, Bravo, I don't think that's CPI. It's just core inflation. So keep that in mind. Let's see. He says core CPI Wednesday, May 11th per market calendar. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Maybe I need to update my stars there to make it show more. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see that, Bravo, but I'll definitely keep that on the radar for Wednesday though, nonetheless. I don't see it on my calendar, but I'll definitely keep that on the radar. Guys, if anyone else sees what's going on here Wednesday, definitely let me know, because if it is the CPI, I'm going to have to call Trading Economics and tell them to add it to their chart, because they're definitely missing a big thing there if the CPI is that day. Keep in mind, core inflation rate is different than CPI, so those are two different data points there. So don't forget that. And then we have PPI Thursday, so that'll be big. Producer prices, I know that's going to be pretty big Thursday, so keep that in mind too, Bravo. PPI Thursday will also be another big data point to look at. But either way here, getting back to the market, the SPY is kind of selling off, and it's kind of just flat today. It's not really had too much movement, but we've been seeing a ton of movement out of certain stocks. Like Palantir is really down with their earnings, as we know. That was having a bad move down earlier. And even good old AMC, guys, is falling off. So AMC back to $13 a share. This is not good to see. Look at this on the daily, actually. AMC is looking brutal here to the downside. So definitely not good to see it selling off in this type of fashion. Sometimes you can see some sell-offs that, are just a slight downtrend or something like that. But as we can see, AMC has been getting killed with a lot of the growth plays, and it looks like they're about to break their major support here, right around $13. And if they start falling below that in a major way, who knows? They might even come down and retest $10 a share. So I know it's crazy with AMC, and a lot of people have been still holding AMC too from the top. So I hope it goes back up for you, but I don't think I'm too hopeful here, or I'm definitely not too optimistic because it's just brutal. And we have AMC earnings coming up tonight. So keep that on the radar too. That's going to make for some crazy price action, but seems like we're seeing a lot of selling come in right ahead of this. So keep this on the radar for tonight. Lots of big earnings coming up, and we're going to have to see what can happen here. Here's the earnings chart actually for tonight. So we can see we have Upstart, AMC, Plug Power, Blink, Lemonade. So we have a lot of big stocks reporting here tonight. So keep some of these on the radar. I think Plug Power will be a huge one along with Blink and LMND. Let's see maybe how Blink and Plug are looking today. So Blink is, wow, they're really selling off, down 8% ahead of their earnings. Definitely not good for them. They've been kind of retesting $20, and they've been really getting rejected lately there. So, wow, bad moves for Blink. Let's see what else was there. We have Plug. We have LMND. Let's check those out. Even UPST. Let's see Upstart. Yeah, they're even kind of dipping back down. So, not good there. What about Lemonade, LMND? Yeah, Lemonade's even down to $19. This is a really crazy move for Lemonade. I remember they were really hyped up for a while, and they are really falling off here down to, like I said, almost back down to this low of $17. It's insane to see the selling pressure, guys. It's extremely rough, and the market is just not slowing down. I feel like we just keep selling off day by day, and like look at the SPY again. It's super flat to slightly down, and I wouldn't be surprised if we ended today around $400. I really hope that the SPY keeps rising, but the selling pressure coming into the market is just so rough. Like, I only have like 3 or 4 stocks in the green here, and it's just typical green stocks. Like we have Kraft Heinz in the green. Like, of course we do. They've been constantly green over the past few months. Even Target here is really in the green, which is good today, but the only growth stocks really green today are like Chewy, CHWI. It's actually not looking too bad. It's holding up decently well and kind of popping up. It's actually not even up now. It's like right at even. Now it's even in the red. So as we can see, it's having trouble staying green, which is also not good. It continues to show there's a lot of volatility coming in, and it's just crazy to see these stocks moving all over the place as much as they are. It's terrible, guys. It's a brutal week, and we're kind of coming off the bad selling pressure last week too. But I will say, guys, I mean, it's a little bit expected. So look at this SPY chart here. I'm not saying that technicals are the reason why SPY is falling, but we have to keep in mind that the SPY is not looking good here. So if we go on a max daily chart with the SPY and we look at some key levels, so if we go back to the COVID crash, you can see there was a nice channel forming at the top here, and the SPY bounced off of this lower trend line where my cursor is multiple times. We had bounces in November and December of 2020. And then, for example, throughout 2021, we had multiple bounces on the way up. And now that we're finally falling below, we had a nice confirmation off of that trend line. Also, right around that 450 resistance, which is a big resistance level in general. So that's going to be a huge level there. And now we're falling all the way down to 405. So if we break below $400, guys, it's going to be a bad look here on the chart, technically. And then also, I feel like just fundamentally, we're also just not going to see good moves out of a lot of stocks. Like, for example, a lot of stocks are still falling off today, and some of these earnings aren't the best, and it's just pushing them lower, kind of like in Palantir's case. So, if we continue to see selling pressure with the SPY, it's going to look brutal. We might fall through $400, and if that happens, I think we could see a sell-off possibly down towards 375 or 380. I think that's definitely a possibility, and we're seeing lots of bad technical moves. So, like I said, there was that first upper channel here that the SPY was staying in, and if we take, for example, that channel and we move it down a little bit, now the SPY is bouncing and confirming off this channel again. So, we recently saw the SPY touch on this trend line like 3 times back at the end of February. Now we're starting to fall back below there and confirm off of it as of May 4th. So just keep in mind, we might see more selling pressure. In my opinion, the technicals are definitely pointing to the downside here. So I think that the SPY will keep going down. That's just my opinion. It might not happen. Maybe the earnings will save the market and the market will come right back. But personally, I just think I'm seeing too much selling pressure, especially with the Feds raising rates and everything like that going on. It's definitely causing a lot of pressure here, and I feel like that the market is about to give here. Like if we continue to see the SPY fall down and it breaks below 400, it's not going to be good. We can see on the 1 year daily chart now, we're making new yearly lows here now that we're falling. So definitely watch out. I think this can get accelerated, and I have a feeling over the next few weeks we might see that start to happen. So I hope not, but that's what the chart is telling me as of right now. Bravo says, hey, look, if SPY goes below 400, then expect some accelerated sell-off towards 385 to 390, but I'm not bearish like that. So yeah, I think that's definitely a good analysis there, Bravo. Like I think if we fall below 400, we'll definitely see a bit of acceleration, and really good analysis there. I definitely think that's a possibility, especially looking at the daily chart. There's just such big levels coming up and such big support levels to look at here. So it's pretty telling. We're seeing the SPY fall off at such a major rate, and it's been a long time that the SPY is down this much. Like if we look at the percentage move to the downside, so if we go to like 480 at the high for the SPY and we go to now, we're down around 15%. I will say that's a pretty big pullback for the SPY. It's obviously nothing crazy, but if we go to like the max daily chart here and we go to other times of volatility here and we see the percentage drop down, like I know that like there was a bit of a move here. Let's see, back in 2018 where the market fell down like 11-12%. So then another thing happened with China in 2018. The market pulled back like 20% there. So that was a big drop. Then we have the COVID drop where the SPY fell down like 35%, which was pretty telling. And right now it's down 15%. So it could get worse. Like we saw with the China situation, it fell like 20%. The COVID situation dropped it down 35%. And then ever since COVID, we've had pretty much straight upwards movement. So honestly, I'm not too surprised to see a bit of a sell-off here, but either way, it's not good. And if we do fall below 400, just brace yourselves. I have a bad feeling that it could start to get a lot worse. And it's not even just the big stocks like SPY. Like big banks are starting to fall off too. Like look at Bank of America. They're really down this morning. They're down 1.6%. They're gapping down, and it's just it's definitely not good to see. This selling pressure is continuing to come in here, and we're just continuing to see these stocks move lower. I was kind of hoping that bank stocks would do better because after Powell spoke last week, bank stocks started to kind of pick back up and move back to the upside, but now it's just kind of consolidating and moving back down a little bit. So I hate to see that, but still, though, the banks are kind of moving with the SPY this morning, not really doing too much. Let's see, JP Morgan. You can see these banks tried to come up, but they just gapped down in pre-market, so they're obviously still down in the red. But yeah, it's brutal for these banks. I feel bad for them. They've been kind of like waiting for rates to go up, and now Powell's starting to raise rates, but now the banks have been like kind of waiting all year for this to happen, and I hope they can start to move back up soon. It seemed like they were going on a pretty good uptrend like to end the week last week, and then kind of gave those gains back. So kind of hard to gauge the bank plays. I know we talk a lot in Discord with some people who like work at banks and different stuff like that, and a lot of them or a lot of those guys have been pretty bullish on banks, but a lot of the banks just continue to sell off. So definitely not good there. And I'm sure that rates going up have a pretty big deal in this as well. And let's see, Trading Lifestyle says, take a look at the TNX. It's way too high right now. So let's see, TNX.X. Let's see if that comes up. I know that just TNX works for Thinkorswim. So yeah, wow, TNX is really flying. I know that over the past couple weeks, it's been continuing to break and move higher. And Friday was insane with TNX. It was really flying up. But yeah, today it's still kind of moving. It had that nice gap to the upside. It looks like it is starting to fall off a little bit, but definitely not good here. I hate to see this type of selling pressure come into TNX, but maybe this will help the market, maybe, but either way, TNX was definitely up again this morning, which is not good. So, it's a big thing to look at these indexes. I know they've had a lot of big movement lately, and even some of the bonds like /ZB, the 30-year Treasury bond, you can see earlier this morning it was continuing to move lower, which is just insane. But as of now, it's starting to get a bit of an uptick back, which is good, I guess. Hunter says ARKK is having a terrific day. Oh no. Oh no. Let's see them. Wow, down 6.3%. This is definitely getting rough here. I hate to see the sell off with ARKK. That is not good. They're really falling down below, wow, $44 today. So that's a pretty big level from last week. I know that was a big support on Friday, and they are blasting below that. Let's see their max daily chart here. Wow, they're almost back to their support level from all the way back in like March of 2020, which is the COVID low. So definitely bad for them, Hunter. Almost down to $40 even. And wow, I bet Kathy is very upset today. I'm sure she woke up and saw all these growth stocks and threw her computer across the room or something. I mean, man, she is taking a beating here, and I wonder how good old Teladoc's doing. I know she was a little bit over leveraged with them, and wow, look at them. They are continuing to fall lower here. Not good there. We have Zoom falling below 100 in a big way again. So wow, the sell-off is just getting worse and worse here, guys. I definitely don't like seeing that. If you guys want to see any specific stocks, definitely let me know in the comments down below, and we can check anything out, whether it's the SPY or whether it's the NASDAQ or some China stocks or whatever it is. Definitely let me know, and we will take a look. And I can do some technical analysis on them. We can look at some fundamentals. We can do all types of stuff. So just let me know what you guys want to see here. So far today, though, leading my watch list is Kraft Heinz again. And, they've been doing very well with inflation lately. And it looks like it is still flying up here. So, we have Kraft doing very well on the daily chart. I will say, guys, I have a feeling Kraft and some of these stocks are going to be amazing. It's pretty crazy. I can't believe how much Kraft has been flying up. Like with inflation and everything like that, it's definitely been extremely telling here over the past few weeks. So pretty crazy movement. Let's see here. Hunter says she's still collecting the fees from all the investors. She's good. So yeah, of course she is, Hunter, right? I don't know what the fee is on ARKK, but man, I know a lot of those funds aren't even profitable and they just make money from all those fees. So yeah, it's definitely telling. I'm sure she's doing quite fine, believe it or not. Trading Lifestyle says, can we just agree to use Cathie Woods as a reverse ETF index? LOL. Hunter says, check out SARK. So I know, Hunter, SARK is awesome. So it's pretty interesting. So this pretty much just shorts ARK. So they take ARKK and they pretty much do the opposite. And as you can see, it's been exploding. It went from $29, pretty much $30, all the way up to $67 this year. This is an insane move to the upside, especially out of a stock that shorts like a hedge fund. So pretty big there to see. I can't believe that it's that big of a move to the upside here, up 5.6% again today. We could see ARKK is pretty much down 5.8%. So as we know, it does the opposite, and it's just it's crazy to see how much ARKK has been falling and how bad Cathie has been. I mean, it's pretty insane. People talk about the Cathie curse. It's a pretty funny thing to talk about, because every time I feel like Cathie Woods is brought up now, people hate her. But I remember a few years ago, or just a year ago, whenever anyone would bring up Cathie, they were like, wow, best investor ever. I need to copy her moves and everything like that. I remember everybody loved Cathie. They were like, oh, she's awesome. She predicted Zoom, Tesla, all these big stocks. And now that they're all coming back down, everyone hates her. So that just goes to show you also that, you can be doing very well in the short term, but that longer term outlook can always play a bigger role here in the market. Looking at the SPY, we can see that even the SPY's down with a lot of Kathy stock. So it's not even just Kathy at this point. It's just the overall market is just brutal, and I'm sure a lot of retail traders are getting hurt right now with all the pressure going on as well. But we have Bravo saying Disney, please. So check out Disney. Let's see. DIS. Wow, they're also down today. Pretty big, down 1.3% again. I'm really waiting for Disney to bounce off $100. You know, they're getting really close to it. And if they end up bouncing off that $100 support, I think that'll be an amazing buying opportunity for Disney. I know that they have earnings coming up this week too, which is going to be huge on May 11th. So definitely watch them. Hunter says, Kathy predicted the top of Zoom since she bought a few days before the exact top. And yeah, she did, Hunter. I cannot believe that. She bought in like literally like right around like $500 to $600, like somewhere right between there. Like it was pretty telling. Like ever since she bought, the stock has almost went straight down. So it's pretty crazy. I feel bad for poor Kathy, but you know, I don't even really feel bad for Kathy, I should say. I honestly feel more bad for the traders who followed Kathy because as we know, you know, she was hyping up a lot of stocks, whether it was genomic plays or whether it was just plays in her innovation ETF like Tesla or Zoom or whatever. You know, she's been buying all these stocks and a lot of traders have been trying to copy her because she had a lot of success. And I feel really bad for a lot of those traders that are copying her moves because they're getting killed. You know, these stocks are down so much that, you know, if you would have been buying, like what Hunter said, if you would have bought at the top, or if you would have bought when she bought, you're buying at the direct top pretty much. So it's nuts. I can't believe how much she just continues to get killed in the market here. But yeah, it's insane. Here, guys, I'm actually gonna go ahead and throw the SPY up on the chart really quick. I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of like let the price action move for a second. I'll be right back. Just give me like 60 seconds or so. I'll be right back. Hey, sorry about that, guys. I have some pretty bad allergies right now. As we know, it's kind of we're getting into like May now already, believe it or not. So, you know, the allergy season is definitely starting to get a little bit worse here. But yeah, either way though, the SPY, while we were kind of sitting there with the price action, it's been kind of moving back off to the downside, unfortunately. So hate to see that, but it's just continuing to sell off today. And you know, so far the SPY is just kind of slowly bleeding off to the downside. I always like to say that the SPY is sliding off, and today it looks like another one of those setups where it's just kind of slowly falling. So it's just not good to see there. Let's see. We have Square saying, Kathy, just follow the trend. Yeah, I know, right? She needs to fix something there. Soren says DRIP up as crude is down. So drip is up while crude's down. Let's see. DRIP. Wow, it's really up. Drip's up 11%. That's pretty telling there. You know, that's pretty crazy to see drip up this much. 11%. That's pretty big. I wonder how Gush is doing. It must be down. Yeah, so Gush is down 11%. Drip is up 11%. I know these are inverse ETFs, so keep that in mind. They move opposite of each other, Drip and Gush. So yeah, Drip is insane. I can't believe it's up this much. And you know, Soren, I'm curious to see if Drip continues to move up or not. You know, like I'm sure that obviously like drip's been really falling off here over the past few months with oil rising. So maybe it's time for drip to move. You know, it's kind of double bottomed off $20, and that might not be a bad play. If oil keeps falling down, that actually would be pretty decent there. So who knows? Maybe drip could be a good swing, but just keep in mind, guys, drip it does follow oil. So keep in mind, if oil goes down, drip goes up, and you have to keep in mind it moves at an insane percentage. So it's up 11% today, while crude oil is only down 3%. So you got to keep in mind that there is some crazy price action and leverage with that. So definitely keep that in the back of your mind here. Hunter said, yeah, I feel bad for the investors who got up in Kathy's sales pitches because they kept putting her on TV. Yeah, you're right, Hunter. They really did. It was insane. They kept pushing her like on YouTube, and she was joining CNBC and like MSNBC and pretty much everyone, you know, coming in and doing interviews about her stocks and about how she thought certain sectors would be better in the future and other stuff like that. So pretty insane to see her pushing everything like that while also doing so bad at the same time. CERN says drip as also SCO going up. Let's see SCO here. Is this another thing that follows oil? Let's see. Yeah, it's the Bloomberg oil ETF, the ultra short oil ETF, I should say. So that makes sense. So yeah, SCO is also going up 7%. That's another one that goes up as oil falls. So definitely look at these two stocks if you want to trade oil. You know, if oil keeps going down, maybe SCO or drip could be pretty good plays. But we have Kin saying Tesla going to 850 or under 800 with a question mark. Let's see. Tesla going under 800. Let's see. Man, I don't know about that. I mean, I could definitely see it below 800. I just don't know if that'll happen today. I feel like $800 might be a good low of day today, maybe somewhere around there. We can see $800 on the chart is a pretty big support. There's been a few bounces there, like back on January 28th. We had other bounces right around there on like March 15th. So definitely look for some more price action right around 800. Personally, Ken, I feel like we could end up going down to around 800. I think that's definitely possible here. You know, the market's selling off. Tesla keeps moving to the downside. So I would not be surprised at all if we ended up around there. So good point there. You know, Tesla's a big stock, and they are also selling off today in a major way, down 4.7%. It was even worse in pre-market. So I could definitely see them starting to fall off a little bit lower. I hate to say that with Tesla too, because I love Tesla. You know, I love Elon Musk, and I really hope that his company starts to turn it around. But as we know, and as Mike, Hunter, and myself have talked about for the past 2 or 3 months now, Tesla's still overvalued. You know, like we have to keep that in mind, that their market cap is still insanely high. They still have crazy price to sales ratios and stuff like that. So they could definitely continue to fall off a little bit here. And, you know, I think we're starting to see that. And even with technicals here, it's not good. You know, they're falling below big supports. So they're below the key, like 880 or like $900 support, which is not good to see there. They're moving below the key blue trend line, which is not good. They're even moving below the red trend line, which was like at the bottom of the range. So as far as technicals go, you know, they're making lower highs. They're breaking all these trend lines. They're breaking support. So I could see it falling off. And I feel like a lot of investors are going to start de-risking themselves here, you know, especially investors that are still up a lot. Like, keep in mind, Tesla at $800 right now still has some crazy growth going on. Like, if we still go back, let's say to maybe like just after like the high of COVID. So like, as we know, Tesla got pretty low with the COVID crash, down to like, on a split adjusted basis, down to like $70 or so. If we even go from $200 to now, Tesla's still up like 298% over the past couple of years. So keep in mind, it's still up an insane amount, even though it's falling down. So I want you to definitely keep that in your mind, because that just shows that we can go lower. You know, like, let's say Tesla even falls down to 600. That would be a big drop, right? Everybody would freak out, but it would still be up like 200% over like a 2-year period. So always keep that in mind. Even though these stocks, a lot of them are falling, they're still up on a multi-year span. So I think that's a very important point to keep in your mind. So definitely think about that a little bit, but still in the short term, we're seeing some crazy selling pressure, and I have a feeling that it's just going to continue to get worse and worse as we go on today. So not good there. Trading Lifestyle says Twitter 49 puts almost up. 50 calls up close to $200. Let's see. So Twitter puts, let's see. Yeah, wow. Twitter really started falling off their Trading Lifestyle. That's not good to see at all. I can't believe it's down this much. I mean, wow, I would have thought Twitter would have started to move closer up towards $54.20, which is the price, Musk is supposed to buy him for. So pretty crazy to see it coming down a little bit. I don't know what's causing all of this pressure. Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the news on Thinkorswim this morning, and I don't really see anything too crazy. It says, here's a pretty big report. Maybe we can read this really quick here. I'll bring this up on the screen so you guys can see it. So we have the Thinkorswim news tab here. It says on half the screen we have, let's see, Apple and 3 other stocks insiders are selling. So that's not good if they're selling this. I mean, let's see. So GC and Secretary Catherine L. Adams sold a total of 25,000 shares of Apple at a price of $161.72. The insider received around $4 million for selling the shares. So that's pretty big. It looks like some people are on Twitter are selling shares. It looks like the general manager of revenue, Bruce Falk, sold 20,069 shares at an average price of $48.89 on Twitter to receive around $981,000 from that. So, I mean, it seems like these insiders, these obviously aren't the biggest trades. So keep that in mind. Like $4 million of shares on Apple is nothing. So just keep that in mind. These aren't really big trades. I thought maybe, they were going to talk about some bigger trades in there, but either way, it's not good to see Twitter going down along with Apple, Microsoft, and stocks like that, especially Microsoft. Look at them. They just keep making new lows here. They're all the way down to 266 today. So definitely brutal on the selling pressure there. And I really hope that maybe these bigger stocks can turn it around soon. But yeah, I'm definitely not betting on it myself. Let's see. CERN says cold inverse of natural gas going up. Let's see. KOLD. Let's see. KOLD. Okay, it's another Bloomberg one. Yeah, it's really moving up. You're right. It's up 14%. Again, another inverse to gas here, or I should say like natural gas. So definitely watch that. CERN says, so my plays today are Drip, SCO, and Cold. So makes sense. I mean, they're the stocks moving today. I mean, look at SCO. It's at a lot of momentum. So, CERN, that might not be a bad way to go. Hopefully it keeps going. Trading Lifestyle says he's up 121% right now on his Twitter put. So really good there, Trading Lifestyle. That's amazing. I'm glad you're up 120%. You're killing it today. And those puts look like they just keep going up in value here. Twitter just keeps falling off the table, believe it or not. I can't believe they're down this much. I mean, I would have definitely expected Twitter to maybe consolidate, maybe around $50 or something, but never would have expected to move down like this. This is pretty bad selling pressure given all the good news Twitter's had. I will say, I guess we can't really blame them because, there's so many other stocks down today. Like let's go look at Square, for example. They're down almost 10%. So I guess the movement with Twitter isn't too bad. They're only down 3%, but still, I mean, that's really telling here. And look at the IV picking up here even. And I know that the IV has been kind of stagnant or really falling off because ever since Elon bought it, people are kind of expecting Twitter's price to stay somewhere close to 54.20. So that's why the IV is so low. But even today, with it kind of going down a little bit, that IV is really picking back up. So pretty crazy to see Twitter down this much. And it's just crazy to see any stock down this much. Like look at Palantir today. We're down 20%. We have XPEV down. ASTR's in the red. Rivian selling off after reports of Ford selling their shares along with other insiders. What sucks for Rivian is that their share lockout period actually ended. So insiders can now sell their shares, which is probably why it's continuing to sell off the way it is. that's the only reason Ford even sold shares, was because they were pretty much locked in there for a while. But now that the lockout's over, they can kind of do what they want and sell out. So it's going to be tough for some of these EV companies like Rivian, Lucid, and other ones. I mean, Lucid's kind of following Rivian down too. They're down 7% again. So definitely big selling pressure coming in here today, guys. But wow, it's rough. You know, we're almost to 9:30 here. If you guys want anything else covered on the stream, definitely let me know and we can look into it. You know, there's a lot of selling pressure right now, and I'm sure that over the next few weeks to few months, it's going to make for some amazing opportunities. Like, let's just go to the daily chart on some of these stocks here. Like, look at Lucid even. You're all the way down around almost all-time lows now, which is going to be insane. We have AMD moving lower to $90. You know, this is a pretty big sell-off in its own right. We have Nvidia down a lot. Facebook's down. Netflix, Twitter, Square, Palantir, of course. You know, they're the worst today. General Motors is falling back off along with Ford. It's brutal, guys. But like I said, I wanted to look at the daily chart because it's creating some really good longer-term opportunities. So, like, look at Starbucks. You can pick up Starbucks right now for the longer term at $75 a share, and the all-time high is at like $126. That's a pretty good discount, and I feel like that Starbucks is a pretty good company that should hold up better than, you know, some of these growth plays over the next few months. So I think that's a great one to look at. You know, Facebook is going to be a big one too, or I should say Meta now. You know, I've seen that Meta's been announcing some new stuff, so that's good. I saw yesterday they actually opened up a new store. I actually have the article right here. They're opening up their first store as they start to push their VR headsets. And as we know, you know, VR headsets have been pretty popular, like with gamers and stuff like that. So I feel like that over the next few years, as we kind of get more into the, if we kind of get more into the VR headsets, I think more people will kind of get into it a little bit more because it is pretty cool. You know, I will say, like, if you're playing games and stuff, it's very immersive, and for like racing games or even anything. So it's, hopefully that helps them. But this is kind of like what their store is going to look like with Meta. So who knows, you know, maybe that'll help their sales over the next few months to few years even. I really hope that maybe their sales start to uptick a little bit more. You know, I know that Zuckerberg's been having some issues lately with all their ad revenue and everything, so maybe Facebook getting into these headsets more will help offset some of that cost of ads and everything. So who knows, but either way, you know, Facebook's fallen down today, and my whole point is that with these stocks down a lot, it's going to make for some good opportunities. You know, like Facebook has shares really low here. We could also have like Microsoft is even pretty low compared to all-time highs. You know, Netflix, like I said, you know, you name it. These stocks are really low. DraftKings is really low, of course. DraftKings actually making a new low here, down to $11.94, which is very unfortunate. They're down another 9% today, and the selling pressure is just so rough, guys. It sucks to have to keep saying that, but either way, you know, we're getting close to 9:30 here. Probably going to wrap up the stream. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and hopefully the selling pressure gets back to normal. You know, if we end up, maybe we'll see an intraday recovery or something like that out of the market. That would be very nice to see. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And of course, I'll be in the Discord if anyone has any questions or wants to keep talking stocks.